I'm Rob Nurse, a weed scientist with Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada, based out of Harrow, Ontario. This project is looking at organic dry beans. Today we're at Harrow Organics Farms Limited, and the reason we're here today is we're showcasing a trial that we're conducting for the Organic Science Cluster 4.
My name is Jamie Larsen. I'm a research scientist with Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada, based in Harrow, Ontario. My program has research sites at a number of locations. In this case, we're at the Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada Research Station in London, Ontario. The project is really to work on both breeding and agronomy to develop the dry bean organic production system for Canada. My part of the project is breeding pest resistance and pyramiding, so putting all of the resistance genes from various pests together into one nice package. For farmers, Rob's job is to develop the production system and specifically tied to weed control. Final years of the project, I'm going to take my material, try it under Rob's system, and see how everything works to generate real yield data for farmers so that they have it, so we can use it for both variety registration, but also info sheets that farmers can use to make a decision on what organic varieties might work best in their system.
So we're doing this research on an organic farm, and one of the great things about doing that is we get the weed pressures that are natural to organic systems. And in this field we have giant ragweed, we have velvet leaf, and we have common ragweed, and we have foxtail species. There are patches of Canada thistle in other parts of the trial as well. We do have plots that are managed using current methods, which would be inter-row cultivation, strip tillage, and populations. Then we're comparing that to using techniques like roller crimping of rye and electricity and zone tillage combinations to see what comes out the best as far as yield potential and weed management. So one of the other aspects of this trial is that we're looking at alternatives to desiccation in the fall. Now, in conventional dry beans, you would go in with a herbicide and dry the beans down so that they're ready for harvest. In organic systems, obviously you don't have that tool to use. So we need to look at ways that we can get the dry beans dried down. So one of the things that we're looking at is using electricity. So we talked about using electricity as far as weed control in the trials, but we're also looking at using it to desiccate the beans themselves. So in the fall, we go through with the weed zapper and hit the dry beans, and that helps to desiccate them down. And we've done comparisons in other trials looking at the weed zapper versus a herbicide, and they're almost identical.
The development of dry bean cultivars is a lengthy process. Typically it can take 10 years or more. The key start to that process is actually to have selection methods to be able to select resistance parents that you can then use in crossing. So a key part of this project is the development of selection methods both in the field and indoors to be able to select material that is resistant to potato leafhopper, anthracnose, and white mold. Once we have this information, we'll be able to make a cross between a resistant parent and potentially an adapted parent. And then from there, use these nurseries to be able to select resistant progeny from those crosses and then move that towards being a variety that farmers can grow.
They suck on the individual cells. And so the cells that have been killed, they don't lay out flat anymore.
Potato leafhoppers are annually a problem, especially in more southern regions of Ontario. And when infestation is severe, it can cause at least 20% yield loss. Every year we get pests moving in on the wind from the southern US. From previous research, what they found is that symptoms on the plant, so curling of leaves, cupping of leaves, and then burning, so a yellowing at the end of the leaves. And so subsequently we can go through the field, know that there's leafhoppers there by just visually observing them, but then seeing those symptoms in the field and being able to select the difference between something that is resistant or susceptible. This is our nursery, our white mold nursery. We have different varieties, lots of different varieties planted here, probably about 500 in total. But what you can see here is this variety here is absolutely devastated, and then some are not impacted at all, and some of them are partially impacted. So one of the ways we rate this nursery is by looking at incidence and severity. Incidence meaning this length of row in terms of what percentage of it is infected, so anywhere from 0 to 100%, and then severity in terms of how much the disease is spread throughout the plant. We know those are kind of that's the common way of doing it, and we know that there is some level of resistance in terms of limiting spread. Yeah. Lunatus. No, it's a phaseolus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That'd bring a new species in the market class to Ontario, which is good for all bean growers, so that would be excellent.
My name is Mike Donnelly Vanderloo. I've been with the Ontario bean growers for 25 years. I've grown beans for probably 35 years and still very active in growing beans and also in guiding research to solve problems for our growers.
So the potential users of these research findings are going to be the growers of dry beans in Ontario and across Canada.
There's a lot of growers that grow conventional beans, but there's also a lot of growers that grow organic beans. And growing organic beans, it's a growing market. It's difficult because they don't have access to the same tools that other bean growers do. So the focus of this research was to allow organic bean growers to find other tools to control weeds and insect pests. And that will allow them, that'll give them the science-based tools to control these weeds and insects that are very difficult in that area of production.
There'll be other people that benefit from this research, including agronomists who will have an idea in terms of what these pests look like and the impact on yields.
So whenever growers are holding meetings, we'll be there presenting our research results to the growers directly, holding field tours where we invite the growers and other stakeholders to come see the plots, see the research, get hands-on.
We have a number of research partners for this. This includes the Ontario Bean Growers, the Organic Council of Ontario, and the Ecological Farmers Association of Ontario. The Organic Council of Ontario and the EAFAO have also contributed in a number of ways, both financially and in kind. Both groups are fantastic at getting information out to their members.
This research at the end of the day is aimed to help Ontario and Canadian dry bean growers.
The idea here is that we're trying to develop varieties with robust pest resistance to a number of very important pests and diseases in dry beans.
Through providing them with best management practices as far as agronomy, weed management, to ensure that they get the highest yield potential out of their crop.